There we go. There's audio. What's up, Danny? How's it going? All right, so STPD Media, woo woo. What's up? It's Jacko. I see you guys. Hopefully, audio is coming through now. So, gosh, it has been a long time since I've got to do any sim driving. Holy crap! I have been. Oh, good, and audio is coming through. That's awesome. Thank you. I've had a busy September. So I was at New Mexico for No Coast Drift Party. Chase, I'll probably be on for hour, hour and a half, something like. I don't think I'll be up past midnight though. I was in New Mexico for No Coast Drift Party. That was a pretty cool event. Had some issues with my health, but it was worth the drive. I hope to go out next year. It's a great time. And then I was in Oklahoma drifting, and got to have the privilege to translate for D1 GP legend Nomuken, or Ken Nomura-san. That was also very cool. He's actually going to be doing some sim drifting pretty soon. He's never tried it before, but there's some sort of a taikai or competition in Japan that he told me about while he was over. So lots of real life drifting the past month, but almost no sim drifting. I really haven't been in the sim hardly in the past month. Only once or twice, probably on Saturdays for the bash that's on our Discord, which link is in description. So I decided that we ought to come back with a bang, and I've already filmed my next video, which is not going to be live, of course, and I'll be editing that tomorrow. Hopefully I can get that released tomorrow or Saturday, and in the meantime we're going to do a little bit of driving. So let's see if I can get everything working here. That should have, hopefully I'll have chat, and let's bounce over to our setup. Still don't have chat working. I've got to get that configured in Streamlabs. But if nothing else, I'll just check it on my other computer. I've got my work laptop here. I'm waiting to see if we're actually seeing the Assetto Corsa launcher. So I'm going to give that a second while I double check a few of the settings on this vehicle. That looks workable. Okay, good. Yeah, we do have Assetto up. Thank you, Danny. So Streamlabs has introduced a feature for single monitor users like myself. I cannot wait to get triples, but I don't have them yet. That basically lets you overlay chat that I can see that's not necessarily what you guys can see, although I do have the chat overlaid on the screen for OBS as well. But it's not working, so I'm just going to have to look. And yeah. Danny, if you want to come drive, that's fine. I'm in the Ottawa Drift Club server, so that is where I will be, because it had, I think, like 10 drivers. And I'll show you guys how terrible I am at left foot braking on a single monitor setup by running into all these poor people. Now, this is a fun server. I like to come out here and party. I'm going to turn on the Assetto chat just to see if there's anything I need to know about there. Oh, right on. Yeah, I'll see you in there, Danny. Gosh, I've not driven a Tandem Buddy car in forever. Let me see if I even like how it feels. Wow, it feels so different now that I'm used to driving other cars. I'm actually going to be terrible at this, even though this was like the car that got my channel kind of noticed on the sim drifting scene. Oh Lord. Everybody complains about these cars transitioning super slow, and I didn't notice, but I'm going to have to pit and turn up my force feedback because this is actually difficult. Alright, let's see. I'm going to make a few quick adjustments to force feedback. Typically run it pretty light, but in these cars I need to run it kind of heavy so that I can just feel everything. Oh, nice. STPD Media. Sorry, I'm just not good at getting that word out for some reason. You run your own server. Right on. If you haven't already, sometimes it's hard for me to remember people's like YouTube names with their Discord names, but if you're not already on the Discord, check the description and join our Discord. We've actually got ResDog is one of the users on there, and he is helping me out by running a server for us, but having a second one might be pretty rad. So you never know. We pretty much try to do a weekly bash where we will be driving, and I mean there's excellent driving on there. Tons of guys come out. We'll usually get 7-8 car trains pretty regularly, so it's a good time. But I appreciate the offer, and depending on how things go, yeah, I'll definitely hit you up. I appreciate it. Alright, let me see. There's Vortex. This is my buddy Danny. He was just chatting at me a second ago. He's probably getting his VR set up. What the heck are you even driving? Is that a 300ZX? It's pretty cool. Alright, let me see if I like how my force feedback feels again real quick. I turned up the strength of the force feedback, which should let the wheel rotate. You'll see I let the wheel slip through my fingers, and if I have the force feedback set too low, it doesn't slip enough, and I basically fail to countersteer, which is also how I drive the real car, but you can just feel everything so much better in the real car that it's not really an issue. But in the sim, my favorite thing to say is, you know, no G-forces. I feel like I'm just crawling around the track like a noob, but I'll get there. Yeah, wow. I'm just not giving the car enough angle. I just did a video with one of the Lost Tunes cars, and I liked it, but it had considerably less angle, so I was kind of tiptoeing around, and that is still how I'm driving this car, even though it needs to be thrown with massive angle because it transitions slowly. Hey, there's Danny. You can come out? Did he come out? Maybe he didn't come out. Alright, well I thought he would come out. Maybe he'll pick me up next round. Yeah, here he comes. I'll wait for him. There's nobody that I'm going to hold up anyway. Ah, he was checking pizza. Well, I thought he was coming. We'll just go back to the pit. We'll just meet up in the pits. There he is. I guess I'll let you lead for a couple. I'm hoping that when I go to triple monitor, I will be able to see well enough to keep from bashing into people, but I can basically either get close and risk a wipeout, or stay pretty far back. Ah, too much. I so cannot wait for triple monitors. I think it's going to have a huge impact on the quality of driving that I can manage to do. There are times when I just straight up can't see, and also like not being able to see as far to the side impacts, I think anyway, impacts how I drive. Like I'm not as aggressive because I know if I get too close, I'll end up blinding myself basically. So I do sort of so got a little tap there. So tandems, but yeah, it just gets difficult. Oof. I think that was my bad. I think I tapped the wall. Now, of course, like this, I'm not able to read chat while driving, so I'll have to check in periodically. Oh man, it's good to be back. And I haven't driven Drift Playground basically since my first video, when I kind of got into sim drifting. And you know what they say, like your first videos or things that you don't put a whole lot of effort into will end up really kind of blowing up. And I feel like my first video, like, it was decent. I tried to make it as good as I could. I just feel like now I can do better, and so it cracks me up that people are still watching that and commenting on that, even though I made it in 30 frames per second, because I usually film real life stuff and I just kind of forgot. And even though I ended up driving probably the most overdriven pack and the most overdriven track as well, I do still enjoy it though. They're fun cars. To all the purists who are wondering about how realistic Tando Buddy cars are, the difficulty to spin them is realistic. Like, there are cars with so much angle that they're quite hard to spin like this, but it is kind of like driving in slow motion. Like, my car does transition faster than these, and that's the chief complaint that I tend to hear about them. Personally, in my opinion, if you are new to sim drifting and you're having trouble, especially if you came from real life and you sort of expect to have G-forces to help tell you what to do with the car, though, the fact that these transition kind of unrealistically slow may help you. It helped me just to kind of get the hang of it, and then once I got the hang of it, I could go to cars that transition much faster and in a more realistic way, and it definitely helped me out. Just learning the timing, because without G-forces to tell me what to do, at least in my case, I was always behind the car, kind of going too long before I would counter steer, and I let the car get too sideways, and then I would usually end up spinning it. But because these transitions slow, it sort of took that out of the equation, put my timing about right, and once I kind of figured out the timing without G-forces, I didn't have a problem keeping it up after that with other cars. boy, here comes some kind of a mess, so we're just going to try to go around him. I'm going to wait for him. Oh, also I left smoke on. I'm running, oh boy, hi guys. Content manager, and it makes this kind of cool smoke, but it will get hard to see if I'm too many cars back in the train, so that's going to be good times. Oh, I messed it up. I biffed it. I've got a teleport to pits button so that I can get out of the way and conserve the train. Let's see how comments are doing. Hey, what's up, War Absolute? How's it going, man? Sorry, I'm looking over here. It's because I've got a spare computer that I'm using, just a work laptop, to check my comments. Good to hear from you. Good morning from your place. Where are you at? It's probably 9:30 or 10 over here in central USA. Chase, which car mod do I think is closest to real life? That's a complicated question because you've always got to deal with, like, what do you want to realistically simulate? So if you want a high power car, I think that the WDT pack is pretty good. Those cars actually make more power than mine. I make around 310 wheel, so they're a little bit over what I would do. For a more conservative car, the 501 pack that my buddy Danny, who's actually online with me right now, Vortex, put together is pretty good. The DW cars are pretty good, but if you don't like how they feel, look up the DW Wisefab pack that was put together by I think Ted Bundy from OTM, which is On the Mountain. They've got a Discord. I hang with those guys as well, so shout out to the OTM crew. But those are 2 or 3 good options depending on the level of power that you're looking for. There's more cars out there that I haven't driven that are probably great. I do like the DTP cars as well, Disturbing the Peace. I think that they make more power than they really should, but as far as how they actually feel to drive in transition, if you want like a Wisefab car, I like the DTP cars pretty well as well. Alright, I'm going to do a couple more laps here. Oof. Oh, my guy just wiped, alright. Always takes me a second to get back in the zone whenever I stop. There's actually a big train. I'm gonna go pit and catch that train. Which, of course, I'm gonna have to miss them and wait. Yeah, DW Wisefab feels really good. I've started driving that car more and more on our bashes. So on the Discord we run a bash. Typically it's every Saturday, but we're actually going to switch them to Fridays soon, possibly starting tomorrow. We'll post up in the Discord. But yeah, the DW Wisefab feel great. I need to try the DW original cars again, because when I first tried them, it was early on, and I'd basically come from Tando Buddies, and I did not like them. I just didn't think they felt very good at all. But it could be now that I've gotten a lot more experience driving different car packs, I'll actually like how they feel. I think this is my train. Yeah. New subscriber, thank you, I appreciate that. There's all kinds of good stuff on the channel if you've not checked it out before. Kame Trick is a mix of real life and sim drifting. So I actually started as a real life drifter before sim gear was all that good and before sim games were all that good. And decided that I wanted to get more seat time, but I couldn't afford to, go to 20 or 30 events per year or drift every week. So instead, excuse me, gentlemen. Instead, I decided to build a sim. And here we are. So I drift with my real S13 about 10 times a year probably, and then you can find me on Assetto pretty regularly as well. I'm actually not that great on Assetto. Some of it is my setup, which isn't that great as well. I mean, it's good gear, but I'm on a single monitor still, and personally I don't like the real head motion or neck mods that like look in the direction the car is traveling. So, I do have a couple of challenges where I just can't see right now, but I'm going to buy triple monitors eventually. I'm just waiting for a good deal to turn up on the monitor that I already have one of. A little bit more aggressive. Oh my. On transition. So that I can really dive in on these guys. Ooh. Thought I was going to hit the guardrail. I apologize for my terrible driving for whoever is behind me. I'm just not that great. As you can see, I'm kind of driving blind a lot of the time. Oh! It's going faster than I thought. That's all over him on that transition. Probably too much. Let's see if we can't pack on some speed. Which doesn't look that fast. This is just a slow track. Break in. Make up some ground. Oh, I'm dead. Teleport out of the way. Oh man, good times. There we go. Now I've got my windows up. Kevin, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. Glad to have you here on the channel. I'm just waiting for my train to come through again. Join in with the boys. Maybe I'll offer to lead. We'll see. Kind of late to join, but that's okay. Even though it's really fun to tandem, and that's what I need practice at, I can, I was gonna say I can enjoy some solo driving as I catch up, but I actually caught up really fast. It's poor. Start over here. Oh man. Vortex always lays down such awesome runs to follow. gentleman Tyler that is chasing him is doing an excellent job too. Oof. Parked it. Oof. Sorry, Tyler. I do love the fact that you can test out new things and different levels of aggression, and as long as you're not just totally destroying somebody, you can bonk into them a couple of times and nobody's really going to mind too much. Not exactly sure what's going on here, but everybody wipes every now and then. Leg there. Thanks for the bump. Didn't quite clear that turn the way I wanted to. Oh God, I'm getting beat up. Alright, let's get clean again. Come on. Still, I'm dead. Still not used to clutch kicking all that often, and so sometimes I forget in the heat of the moment. It's fine. I'm gonna lay down a couple of lead runs. Folks catch up to me, great. Following gets kind of weird, especially if you're not the second car. I mean, I love big trains. If you watch my channel with the real life drifting, as long as we have people that can run them, I generally get in them. But it does get a little strange. You find yourself really getting pinched out on the inside of turns, or there just not being room for you. But, that is the beauty of sim driving. Take all the risks. Every now and then, though, it just feels good to me to do some either lead laps or solo laps, so that we can just kind of refresh and remember how the line should be on the track, which I'm not going to say I'm taking a perfect line right now. I keep cutting this turn too tight for one thing. Oh, that's guardrail. Almost. So a good lead line, when you can manage it, is to try to take corners wide in order to give a chase car plenty of room and opportunity to to get close. Now that may not be what you want to do if you are in competition, but generally they define what lead run, what line you need to take pretty much at all parts of the track. But your goal there is to beat the other driver and run away from them. So that's a little different. But if you're doing what I'll call co-op tandem, or team tandem, exhibition tandem, the whole point is to make the entire group look good. And so if that's the case, as a lead car, you want to run a nice wide line that's easy to follow. Don't do crazy transitions, and that way everybody can get up nice and close, feel comfortable, have a good time. If you get too close to the inside, you're going to end up causing the chase car to get kind of pinched out, and they won't have anywhere to go. So they'll either have to go off track, risk crashing, or more likely bail and kind of fall back behind you, which there are places on tracks where you don't really have a choice, but a lot of times you can drive around that. And like I'm doing right now, I'm not as far over as I could be, but there's plenty of room to get up next to me, and then if somebody wipes, you just kind of go around them. Here we go. Now we've got some folks joining in. For those of you who watch my sim drifting content already, you'll see I'm using my typical style for transitions, which is to roll off throttle, let the car come around for the amount of angle that I want, and then roll back in for most of these turns. Move there. Everybody wipes out from time to time, but it is important to try to have a teleport to pit button. If you are using Assetto Corsa Content Manager anyway, that is an option, and it's great because you can do it when the car is still in motion. And typically in Assetto, if the car is moving, you can't like hit escape on your keyboard and go to the pits, which sucks because if you wipe, pretty much means that everybody behind you, at least on a tight track like this, has to wipe into you before you're able to get out of the way. But if I wipe, when I wipe, I'll be able to grab the wheel, hit the right button, and basically teleport out of the way so that the rest of the train can keep going. And for anybody who wants to join us, I'm not sure how late I'll be on because I just kind of decided to do this spur of the moment. I do want to get into sim drifting on the regular live streaming, that is, but I'm still getting it all figured out. But if you want to join us, we are at the Ottawa Drift Club server. They're running the Tando Buddies cars on the Drift Playground track. It's a server that I've been coming to ever since I got into Assetto Corsa. I didn't know anybody on here at first. It just happened that they've always got drivers, and they were running cars that at the time I thought were some of the best cars. I still enjoy Tando Buddies cars, but there are cars I think are more realistic out there at this point. Oh gosh, I stalled it. Thank you for not hitting me. I think that might be Danny back there. Not sure what that car is. But yeah, shout out to Ottawa Drift Club. This is a cool server. It's always got people on. It's a fun place. And I definitely learned how to drift with confidence on this track. And I still enjoy visiting this server from time to time. If you have a server that you want to see me hit up at some point, drop me a comment and let me know, and I will crash, literally and figuratively, the server at some point. Well, I got tapped and it messed me up. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm dead. Get out the way. Comments. Oh, Dan is done, taking a break to eat. How is it going back to the Tando Buddy cars? It's super weird. I feel like I'm driving in slow motion, or like the car is just on like molasses. Like everything is a little sticky and a little slow, um, which is, you know, how everybody says. And the more that I've driven it, the more that I've adjusted to sim driving, the more I realize that it's like they're good cars and they're fun to drive, but at the same time, they do transition slow. And hey, what's up, Chase? There you are. It definitely changes how you have to drive. We'll go do a few laps of Chase. Hit us up in the comments, and here he is. About to let my poor single monitor driving butt crash right into him, probably, because yeah, I can't see. He does that part like I do, though, which is nice. Guardrail? Almost guardrail. So I've only watched a couple of Assetto Sim streamers, but one of the questions that I have is, how do these guys manage to read and respond to the comments while driving, or do they? Is it more like you do a couple of laps and then stop to check comments? That's kind of what I'm having to do. So if you dropped a comment, first of all, thank you. But second of all, don't stress if it takes me a second to get to it. I'm just gonna try and cut laps in between. So I'll do, 4 or 5, and then hop over to see if I've got any comments to read and respond to, and then hop back in to Tandems. Parked it coming up the hill there. I'm a little rusty at this track. About past me, that's fine, but I know the struggle there. If you get out of position, or if the lead car just doesn't drive in the way that you want or think that they're going to, you can definitely end up inside, and you know that's where you have to bail if it just gets too close. That's fine. We're all here to win. I know I've got a lot of learning to do. Oh boy. Let's see. Kind of loose trains. When I was learning the tandem, this is pretty much how I would do it. I wouldn't try to get right onto people's doors before I was good enough. I feel like that's how a lot of tandem accidents happen. People trying to get close proximity before they have like the situational awareness to monitor the entire track and, you know, drift their car while pretty much fully paying attention to the car in front of them. So what I would do, as I bash into the guardrail, is hang back 4, 5, 6 car lengths. Probably when I started it was like 10 car lengths. And it's funny because when I go back and watch those old videos, like I am right now, it looks like I was insanely far away. Oh, dead. Like I was super far away. But then as I got more confident, I would start noticing things about the lead car or the next car in front of me, and I would realize that they were, like, if they would have a bobble or if they would wipe, and I was so far away I could easily just go around them. But you know, once I got used to it, 10 car lengths, I'd go to 8, and then I'd go to 6, and then I kind of creeped slowly from there in half car lengths increments. But the point is, you need to be able to modulate your distance from even like 5 cars back, if you don't want to worry about breaking your car and fixing your car and crashing into your friends. You know, like, even if you're pretty far back and you're not going to hit, try to keep the same proximity instead of trying to catch up to them, and that way you'll get used to what you have to do to modulate your speed and everything. And that's what worked for me. Comments time. Hey, what's up, Muddy Coast Customs? Yeah, man, thanks for joining. Let's see. Urban Grit, add real head motion. It helps big time. So, alright, I get the point, guys. You want me to drive? Hold on. I have tried real head motion, and it does help. If you've got a single monitor, might as well do a burnout while we're sitting here. There we go. If you've got if you've got a single monitor set up, real head motion is pretty cool. Well, I'm freaking out my force feedback. It will basically make the driver of the car look in the direction of your steering. So if you steer this way like you would to drift, the camera actually looks over there, and then it looks over here. For me, I've tried it, and it may have like a learning curve, or you have to get used to it, but it messes me up because I use like the scenery to detect how much angle the car is picking up, and so for me, if the camera moves, it messes with my ability to read what the car is doing. But it does help. I recommend that you try it if you are stuck on single monitor and want to be able to see a little bit more. I'm going to check a few more comments and then we'll go out. Yeah, Danny is telling the truth. Join the Discord. It's in the description. And there's all kinds of good info for setups and people to drive with. We have a bash every Friday or Saturday. Details are in there. Okay. Yeah, Urban Grit, when you only use a little bit of motion, it does help. And that was me. I was turning it down to like 15% of probably what it started out, just to help a little bit. And it was a lot better that way. I think I just need to practice with it more. Gotta miss Tando Buddy's session after bringing in Drift Workshop and ADC lobbies. Yeah, it's kind of fun to come back to Tando Buddy's cars once in a while. Alright, let's go roll some. I'm gonna cut tight because he was pretty close on me, and I don't want want to get in his way too much, even though I'm the lead car. That's just gentleman's tandem, you know. If you can, pay attention to what's going on and don't make it harder for anybody. Oh, I killed it. I transitioned too slow. My bad. Let's see, there are my guys. They're coming up. I'm going to pull out probably in front of them and do some lead runs. Hopefully I'm not completely in their way. So, one of the challenges on this track is driving out to the outside for chase cars, but it's not super wide, and so there are definitely instances where I end up having to try not to plant it into the guardrail, and if I wait, like right there, if I wait too late to transition, then I basically park the car, come real slow, and so that's kind of rude to chase drivers. I try not to park on people when I can help it. I'm just gonna hop out. I'll catch up to somebody eventually. Yeah, there's a Siggy and Chase. I want to drive with them. They're just on the top of the hill up there. So let me see if I can catch them while still drifting. But we'll do some fast drifts instead. So fast drifting, or faster drifting, is going to involve, you know, tighter lines, not really tandem-friendly moves when I can help it. And hopefully, therefore, maintaining a higher average speed so that the car is a little quick. And also the other big area to catch up is right here, where instead of doing a manji, you can just straighten that out. There's the fam. We have caught up. Well, the smoke mod is kind of awesome, but I can't see the edge of the track some of the time, which makes it hard for me to judge my position. So I almost wiped into Fantastic. Sorry there. Of course, I haven't followed behind him either, so I get to learn to adapt to his driving, which I'm doing a terrible job at right now. I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm definitely saying that's my fault. Gonna clean this up a little bit. Go for the pass. Cut this. Whoa, Siggy, Team Burst, holy crap. Shit, bro, that was awesome. Forgot the clutch kick and basically parked it, and then it bogged, so I really parked it, sorry. Another burst pass. You guys are just animals. Tough. I felt like I had nowhere to go, and that we both got going pretty slow. I was just too far out of position to be able to do anything but basically stop and do a clutch kick. Ooh. Wow, my bad. No idea what that was. I'll hop back in behind Chase. And possibly Jose here. Chris Park at Forsberg. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate that. Oh, man. Alright, dude. I'll see you later, Danny. Have a good night. Yeah, I'll hit you up about the bash. This week has gone by fast. I kind of forgot that I still need to get that scheduled. But, yeah, that'll be in the KT announcements channel within the Kame Trick Discord server. Hope to see you guys there. Yeah, I know Siggy's always in the bashes. It's just been a minute since I've been right behind him. That was cool. Jason, Siggy, both you guys are awesome. Always good to get to drive with you. There we go. Maintain a little bit more speed. Remember to clutch kick. Oh lord. Whew. That was tight. Hey, car 16 is now driven by Ronan with the Devil. Ronan was out on the bash last time I was on, I'm pretty sure. Oh, so tight. And I messed it up. Urban Grit, thank you for the subscription, my dude. Appreciate it. Trying to get this channel to 5,000 subs, but I only want people who actually want to watch the stuff. You know, it's not really important if you get big numbers. I'm trying to actually get a community going here. A community of sim drifters, real life drifters, people who do both, like myself, so that ultimately we can use the power of the computer internet to party all over the world. See, one of the things about me, I used to live in Japan, and I got interested in Japanese language and culture somewhere around like middle school probably. And when I was in middle school, it was a while back, and it was a different world. You know, there wasn't as much going with the internet. There was no social media. Anime was not on TV a whole lot. There was no Crunchyroll or Funimation like streaming anime services. So I got into Japanese culture actually through the art, the woodblock prints, manga, anime, all that. That led me to get into drifting, and all of that led me to study Japanese language in college, which had nothing to do with my major, but they had courses and I wanted to learn it, so I started learning the language. That all culminated in a study abroad opportunity to live in Japan, go to a Japanese university, and study the language even further directly in Japan, in the countryside, where, you know, not a lot of people spoke English, so it was a great place to force yourself to really use the language. And while I was over there, already being a drift fan, and having drifted in America for, I don't know, 3 years in my KA S13 at that time. It's the same car I still drive now, but it just didn't have as much done to it. I learned that drifting is a universal language. Grail, what's up? And even if you don't have a shared language in common, like love for cars, love for driving, love for drifting is something that can unite people. So I wanted to share that and kind of do what I could to make content that reflected that belief that, you know, basically the ultimate drift team of drifters without borders, people from a bunch of different countries, dead. Even if even if you know, don't have a shared language, you can still get out and shred together and have a great time and, you know, throw out a couple high fives at the end of it. Now we're able to do that. You can hang with me on the channel, keep up with the content. If you're in America, you can come out and meet me at events that I'm attending. Catch a ride along if you want. If you're into sim, we can absolutely party in sim. And occasionally, if you're in Japan, you can party in Japan as well, because I get over there every couple years. If you want to go to Japan and you want a translator and don't mind to help me out with the cost of a ticket, we're dead. Then, you know, we can go to Japan together and party out there too. It's a good time, but that's what it's all about. That's the Kame Trick World Drift Friends. Alright, let's catch up to this train. I'm not in a huge hurry, so I'm not going to try to catch them real fast. They're generating so much smoke that it's actually pretty hard to see. Alright, what's your favorite drift car in this train? Owning an S13, of course, I'm partial to them. I think they look really cool. I've always liked the look of the hatch, especially the 180SX Type-X. But at this point, you do see a whole lot of them. I did not expect that. Managed to avoid disaster, though. But I'm going to say that this Toyota, I think it's a Chaser, that's in front of me, is my favorite car in this train. Just because it's something different. I've grown to like 4 doors. I don't really like driving them, but I just like the way they look. I guess we go on an off-road Baja excursion. Oh, technical question for you guys as well. Let me know about the audio balance in the stream. Like, is the game too quiet? Is the game too loud? Am I too quiet? I've done my best to take a guess at it, but everybody's ears are different. So, like, if you can't hear the cars enough, or anything like that, let me know, and I'll adjust it for future streams. Heck, I could adjust it in this stream. Woo! Almost got those barrels. The new smoke mod is cool. It sucks that you can't see, and this is a server where we're all going pretty slow, so like, it's actually not that bad. Nice bail. Always appreciate. I'm about to have to do a bail when somebody bails if they wipe. Let's take a second and check comments. I'm a little quiet. Right on. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Ooh, we got lots of comments. Project Auto Dorikin. Hey, what's up, man? Ohayou gozaimasu. Or konbanwa, depending. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Thank you. I appreciate the love and the support, dude. I really do. It's, I'm surprised I'm doing as decent at sim drifting as I am, but I do pretty good at IRL stuff. Let me see if I can adjust the audio real quick. Give me 1 second. I use a wireless keyboard now. I need to wake all of that gear up. Let's see. So I am too quiet. Turn up the gain. Alright, in theory that just turned up the gain on my headset. I could also try turning down the game audio. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. I'm going to read some comments and chat here for a little bit while I do. Let's get caught up here. Fabtown in the house. Dude, I'm sorry, I haven't watched your videos in a little bit. I've just been staying busy. I assume you're keeping up with it. But, Boise. Oh man, that is a long way. You know, I'll try. So my goals for the off season are to cage the car, fix the car because, spoiler alert, it broke last event. It was leaking oil pretty bad. I at least blew out a rear main seal, which is easy. But I'm a little concerned that something else may have gone wrong. I mean, it's got like 120,000 miles on this motor, so I'm going to check over it for the off season. But yeah, Boise, it'd be cool to get out there. There's people out there I want to meet and hang with, you included. So anything is possible. My dream goal for next year would be to hit up Grid Life, maybe the Colorado one. It'd be cool to drive Grid Life. I've always wanted to. I haven't even gone to spectate. I'm the sort of hard ass that's like, if I can't participate as a driver, I'm not that interested in going as a spectator. But hopefully that'll be in the future, and maybe Boise can be a thing as well. Let's see, Jose CR, I think you found the lobby at this point, but we're in the Ottawa Drift Club. Danny is eating pizza instead of drifting, and that's not how it works for real drifting. It may work that way in sim, but in real drifting, eating is the last thing you do. You work on the car till 4 a.m., you sleep for an hour, you get up, go to the event, and then you eat at like 7 p.m. the next day and wonder why you feel like shit. That's how it's supposed to work, real talk. Muddy Coast, need help with settings. G920 on a PC. Like Danny said, hop in the Discord. There's lots of people with the G920 setup that can help you out. I haven't driven one, but my theory is, in a nutshell, it's going to rotate too slowly. And so you're probably going to have to get in the habit of throwing the wheel. So like if you're drifting in this direction and you're going to do a transition, instead of just letting go of the wheel and letting it slip, when it's ready to transition, grab it and hurl it like this and then pull your hand back up, and it should help the wheel get started, and it'll help you transition more smoothly. Usually that's the biggest issue that I find with stuff. Um, Red Hot Terps, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining into the channel. Just catching up on comments here. Urban Grit, trying to build my own following too. Used to drift IRL, very nice. Hopefully I can do it when the kids get older. Sim drifting. Well, good to make your acquaintance, and yeah, I feel you on that. I've got a little girl. She just turned 4 months old last weekend, so you're probably farther along and maybe could give me some tips on how to make that work. She's going to be a little drifter, but yeah, it's hard to keep it all going. Sim drifting is expensive to get started in, but relative to real life drifting is pretty cheap. I mean, for less than a season, you can get an amazing rig, something even better than what I've got, even if you have nothing at all. So I'm like you, I'm looking forward to being able to supplement my real drifting with sim so that I can stay sharp, have fun, and hopefully even get better without having to go to as many events. Because for me, I used to do 10, 12 events every year that were local, and I'm thinking of scaling that back and doing maybe fewer events, but trying to get out to more states and see more of you guys at events in person. Project R Dorikin. I'm a low YouTuber trying to study the Japanese language. Have I watched Initial D? Hi, mitemasu yo. I enjoy Initial D. It is a it was a very formative series. So the thing about drifting in Initial D for me, it's kind of a cool story. I discovered drifting in 2000 and either 2000 or like 2001, right thereabouts, a little bit before Formula Drift started, and it at the time was really cool because the cars were attainable. They were normal, what I like to call normal people cars. You know, you didn't have these rocket ships with the radiators in the wrong end of the car and, you know, $100,000 builds and 50K a season or 100K a season. Like, I can't afford that. I can't relate to modern cars in FD. I like it. I like the series, but if a new guy saw that, I don't know that they would aspire any more than like you would aspire to be an astronaut when you grow up. It's just like a big deal. And so I liked old school FD, and I continue to like grassroots drifting, because when a new guy comes into the scene and sees a car like that, or like my car, they can go, oh, hey, I know what that is. And they can look under the hood and say, yeah, it looks like a car. You know, I can see everything. There's not all of the like high-tech wizardry that goes into a modern FD car. So where was I going with that? Just I saw those guys drifting at the high level, and I thought it was super cool, but kind of watching Initial D is the moment that I realized that, oh, I can drift. My dad has a S13. That's the car that's one of the cars in the show, you know, like I could learn to drift as a regular guy. I don't have to be like a pro driver to be able to. So that was like, I already knew about drifting, but Initial D is what gave me the drive to try drifting as a driver, as just a random kind of lower middle class guy. So I do like Initial D, and I watch it, rewatch it every couple of years. Let's see. Urban Grit caught it. My sub notification is one of the like eye catch things where they halfway through have the commercial break, and it says Initial D, and I've just ripped that. I really need an edit, but I don't have money to pay back. Yeah, it's a struggle, man. Just takes time. Royal Builds, I got my S13 and it's way fun. Me and my buddy both have S13s. Yeah, I'm all about that S13 life. I wish they were stronger chassis though. They're sort of paper. Like if you get hit, the other car is probably going to walk away, and you're probably going to cry and have to do a lot of fab work to get it working. Project R Dorikin. Now that I'm catching up, konbanwa. So it's Yoru Sogoni. Where do we get this track? So Anton, you can get this track, probably Race Department has it, racedepartment.com. But if you just Google search for Assetto Corsa Drift Playground, you'll be able to find this track and hop in with us. We are on the Ottawa Drift Club server. I started liking cars when I saw the Cars movie, dude. But that's legit. Like, we all had something. I grew up with Hot Wheels, and Just thought they were cool. My dad was into cars. He's got a British, like a 70s British sports coupe, a Jensen Healey, which isn't like a sports car or race car compared to like a 90s sporty car, but it's a really cool car. Dual Stromberg carbs. Christian J.A. Loveless, I see you, bro. Hang on a second. Hey, I saw you at No Coast Drift Party this year. Christian, hell yeah. Wish I could find you around more to talk and hang out. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing much better. For those of you who don't know, I actually had a kidney stone at No Coast Drift Party. It's my last real-life drifting video, and you can find it in the channel listing. So it started out great, but yeah, I had to bail from the event early because I spent the whole night in the ER feeling absolutely miserable. But I'm feeling better. I'm back to 100%. I've drifted since then. I've unfortunately broke the car since then, the real car. But yeah, man, good to see you as always. I hope to see you next year at No Coast Drift Party 10-year anniversary. Rodrigo Martinez, howdy, what's up, man? Good to see you. Same as you, Project R. I grew up with toy cars as well. I don't get how you backwards entry drift. So, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more driving here now that I've gotten caught up. Backwards entry drifting, I don't know that I can do a great job of it. I'm just gonna be a dick and leave these guys. They can come after me. I don't know if this is a track where a backwards entry is particularly feasible. Maybe that first turn that I just entered at. But my understanding for backwards entries, I don't do them a whole lot. I'm pretty sure that my car can do them. I just, personally, I don't do them a whole lot. Is you need to go into a turn with way more speed than is required to clear the turn. And then instead of slowing down for the turn, you're going to throw in a massive drift, usually with a feint. We'll go around this gentleman. Usually with a feint, quite early, well before you actually need to make the turn. So where we could try that is this turn. Yeah, this track is just too small for it. I'm not going to be able to do it. You'll throw in a big entry way too early with way too much speed, and your whole goal is to let the car get too far sideways and continue sliding. And if you leave the wheels cut all the way, and if your car has enough angle, what will ultimately happen is the car will be able to stop itself from spinning out anymore, and it will slide like this for a while. And then once it slows down to a certain amount, the front tires, which are pointing in that direction, will get more traction than the rear tires, which are pointing this way because you're sideways, and that will cause the car to pull itself back out. So you can actually, this hand has more flexibility. I don't know why I was doing it right-handed. You can actually go past 90 degrees, and your wheels, your front wheels, will be like, and you'll hit whatever your angle limit is, but still, this going that direction has less rolling resistance than this does. So it will cause the car to pull back out of that drift. And really that's the key to a backwards entry, is the fact that you're throwing it like this, you're sliding for a while, and eventually it comes back out to a catchable level where you could get on throttle and then go and drift like that. So then the only thing that you have to do is get your timing right, because if you go too late, you're going to fly off track or fly into the wall. And if you go too early, you're going to basically come to a stop and not be around the turn yet. So that's kind of the key thing that you've got to get figured out. And that's the gist for a backwards entry. It's burnout time, apparently. Am I running lighting mods? So I'm running custom shaders. Oh, my bad. I am running custom shaders. And several of its mods, the Particle FX mods. I'm not using the brake light trail. I hoped it would be cooler, like in some of the later, like 4th stage initial D. But pretty much everything in custom shaders patch, I probably need to make a video and go over it. Hopefully it looks pretty good. Let me know what you think. And sometimes it depends on the mod track as well. Certain mod tracks look better with custom shaders patched than others, I think. I'm a computer guy, but I'm so new to Assetto, and I'm really, when it comes to this stuff, more of a driver. Like, as long as the car and the wheel feel decent to me, I'm not so concerned with some of those settings, for a while anyway. I recently had one of my friends and one of the mods on the Kame Trick Discord server, Vortex, help me kind of level up my graphical settings. So if it's looking better from the last Sim Drift video, you've got him to thank. Ah, too much left foot brake. And I'm dead. I'll just join in the same train as they come by right here. Alright. Oh, the Laurel. I've drifted one of those in Japan at Ebisu Kita Course, North Course. It was not this Laurel, it was the newer generation with the, I think they've got an RB26 or RB25, maybe RB25, I don't remember. But it was fun. I was awful at it. Oh, as everyone just parks. Good times. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I'm just gonna go for the pass. Oh lord, I just passed everyone. Alright. Well, that's fine. I'll just lead for a second. This track has a great flow, and it's a really fun track to practice your no handbrake drifting. Because, unlike many tracks, it doesn't really have a single turn that's awkwardly long that requires you to rely on the handbrake. I do like using... Ooh, close to the guardrail. Nailed it. Dang. I do like using the handbrake to just reduce the risk of error, of course. But it's nice not to have to. Love your content, guy on the white E36. I'll have to check that out. Appreciate it. What is the best car to drift without a handbrake and shifter? Since I have a G920, I mostly use my handbrake on the clutch because I don't have shift knob. Use EG6 since it's easy. This map is, so that's all from Project R. Dorikin. This map is Drift Playground. It is one of the most probably, from what I know of it, it's one of the more iconic drift maps. And it's a nice place to learn. It's all second gear, it's all slow, so you can get used to it. There are a couple of hard turns, like relatively hard turns for the track, that are a little tricky, but once you learn it, it's a great track to come just get big tandems and practice. Okay, best car to drift without a handbrake. So if you were drifting without a handbrake, you are going to want a car that is fairly powerful, in my opinion. And you're going to want a car that doesn't make a ton of traction. At least that's what I would want. A specific example that you might check out are the Disturbing the Peace cars, the DTP. I'd say the DTP R32 Skyline would be a good place to start. A low power car, you can drift without a handbrake fine. I mean, typically in a low power car, you're going to avoid using deceleration based techniques anyway, because it's so hard to get the car up to speed. But a little bit of power will let you drive the car with your feet. Like looking at my foot cam, you can see that that's what I'm doing right now. Tandem Buddies are excellent cars to drive without the handbrake as well. Should have gone to that since that's what I'm demonstrating that in right now. And actually for the G920, the Tandem Buddies are probably great also, because they transition slowly. So it would help your steering wheel. If your wheel is a bit slow on force feedback and self-steer, the slower transition time of these cars is probably going to make it a little easier for you. But with a more powerful car, you can easily light up the tires, and especially if you don't have a clutch mapped, like I basically don't need the clutch kick. There's one turn here, unless I'm tandeming and somebody kind of like parks it, there's only one turn where I really need to use the clutch. So yeah, these are good cars for it. The DTP cars are similar. They transition fast, as they should, but the R32 easily has the power to, as I fail at speaking English, it easily has the power to blow the tires off and get rotation, which is good. The one turn where you might need a clutch kick is this turn right here. So you come around, it's super tight, and sometimes you have to wait to roll on throttle right there. And so sometimes there, depending on how long you wait, you might need to plan on using a clutch kick. But yeah, check out DTP and check out Tandem Buddies. Aside from that, also just look for tracks where there aren't straights that are just a little too long, like tracks that flow like this. You know, because on this track, you can see how easily it flows, and as long as you have your timing right to get on throttle and get off throttle, start the transition, and then catch the transition, you can pretty much drive without doing any footwork besides throttle, and then some left foot brake as you get closer to guys. Although I kind of prefer to e-brake instead of left foot brake a lot of the time. Oh, sorry, I just creamed that guy. That was all my fault. My bad, dude. But hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of the gist for some good things to know e-brake drift in. I do have an e-brake, and you can pretty much see when I use it if you see this hand go down to the side, because I'm used to left-hand drive cars, so it's right-hand mounted. Oh, and I have the indicator turned on for it on the pedal map as well, I think. Nope, I don't. You can't see it. Well, Like right there I'm using it, so it's always a good way to reinitiate. There was an example of where you get going too slow in that turn sometimes and need a clutch kick. In my case, I hesitated because I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with since I have a lead car. A little too fast. Oh boy. And we're all dead. I'm just going to teleport out. Yeah, the DTPR 32 Skyline is kind of too easy in a way, but I enjoy it. It's a fun car. And it does transition fast. Oh, the squeaky brakes. Gotta love the squeaky brakes. I guess that's supposed to be Kermit the Frog up there. I've never really figured out what that is. So one of my hobbies as a driver is to interact with media anytime that I can while I'm driving. I'll look over here and wave at guys and stuff. And I've also made a habit once or twice of, you shouldn't do this, but filming selfie video while drifting. You can probably find that video if you if you search my channel. Oh, dead. Wait for Levelist to come back. That is Kermit the Frog. It's kind of a poor transition there. I needed to go to more angle. Whoa! More angle than I wanted, but we managed to avoid disaster. Oh, that was Loveless who commented earlier and said that he was in the white E36. I I didn't quite get what you said at the moment, but I see you in the server behind me there. What's up, man? Yeah, always good to tandem with people. God, these cars are almost unspinnable, which is fine. I mean, who would want anything else? That's something that I wonder about as far as like sim drifting is concerned. So, if you drift in real life, there is a amount of pride that comes from drifting a stock angle car for sure, and I've done it, so I know. But at the same time, I kind of wonder, like, if you don't have anything more than stock angle, is that because you know, they don't make a kit for your car, or because you can't afford it, or you have other hobbies that you spend your money on? Or is it really because you just want to drift with like a low angle car? I kind of think that big angle cars are... Oh, I messed that up. My bad. Super fun. So much fun that like once you get one, you would want to have one. And I wonder for like sim drifters who don't drift in real life, I know that for a lot of gamers, and I don't really want to compare sim drifting to like gaming per se, but for a lot of gamers, if something is harder to accomplish, it's generally seen as better. And so there are cars that I feel like are like not easy to drift, and I wonder sometimes if people think because they're not easy to drift, if that makes them more realistic, because like harder must be better, and better is realistic, right? I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but like Tandem Buddies cars get a lot of flack, and anybody who's given them flack saying that they transition unrealistically slow, you're not wrong. But if you're like saying that they have too much angle, there's plenty of cars that have angle like this that are difficult to spin, that you can throw around all crazy and still manage to drift. And I wouldn't say that anybody should hate on these cars because of the angle that they have, because really, oops, I'm dead again, because really you want to have angle, you want to have a rad time and be able to do crazy stuff with the cars, than to be like selfie time. That is how it is though. Like, I'll see if I can. Oh god, too much angle. Oh, alright. We'll try it. We'll try to clear the track one-handed here. What's hard... That was e-brake. I cheated. What's hard is that the way that I steer, I use kind of a shuffle steer technique that requires both hands a lot of the time, and so I can use one hand for a while, but if I have to make a correction because I like predict it wrong, it's quite difficult. Oh, I thought I was dead. Oh, I was dead. Alright, so what we're trying is drift playground, no e-brake, one-handed. A little bit of guardrail action, but it's alright. There we go. Ooh, don't spin it. Nice. Not bad, eh? So, in the same way that drifting without the e-brake basically just requires a really strong ability to know the car and the track and kind of like predict what input is going to put you where so that you don't have to rely on the e-brake to make a big correction. Drifting one-handed is the same. It's not that special, you just have to be fully confident. Super dork moment. Just like in the fourth stage movie when Kame races against Godhand. You just have to be really confident that you can predict what your inputs are going to do and where the course is. You know, like, I can drive like this because I pretty much feel like I know what combination of inputs will put the car where I want it on the track, and because I know the track. So I can sit here and not use one hand and be able to make a couple laps. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a fun thing to do. I mean, of course, I can drive even harder and even better with both hands. And when you tandem, you have to get to the point where you can drive one-handed a little bit, because at any time, this hand, or whichever hand your side brake is on, is going to be going, up and down to activate that at various times. I think you can tell a lot about a drifter by watching their hands, though. And if you watch my hands in my real life drifting videos, you'll see this as well. I pretty much drive the exact same way, but you let the wheel slip through your hands, keep your hands close to the wheel so that you can make adjustments when you need to. But there's a lot of times that you're not actually touching the wheel in transition. If I exaggerate it, because right now you probably can't tell with this 1080p webcam, but if I exaggerate it like on these next couple of turns, you'll see that I'm letting the wheel slip through my hands a lot, and I'm not actually touching the wheel all that often. It's just to make these little adjustments, but during the transition, I'm just letting the wheel do what it does. And then catching it. If it was possible to do a backwards entry, that's where one would have been. Raid Alazakwani. Sorry, I suck at English apparently. What's your wheel settings? I'm using a Logitech G29 with shifter. So I'm on a Fanatec CSW V2.5, so it's going to be different. This is a belt-driven wheel, so it can spin really fast. But I run my force feedback pretty low, personally. I come from real-life drifting background, which isn't better by any means, but because of that, I like to have low force feedback. I run mine in the 30 to 45 vicinity. For Tandem Buddies cars, I run it higher because they transition kind of slow, and it helps me to catch the drifts correctly. But basically, with my wheel, I let it slip lightly through my fingers, and then when I'm ready for it to stop, I actually grab it and then, adjust, and then when it's time to transition again, I let it slip gently through my fingers and then grab the wheel again when I am ready to stop the transition and carry it in that same direction for a minute. For a G29, I've said this before, the biggest advice that I can give for gear-driven wheels or gear belt combo wheels and things that don't, like, you see how quickly my wheel transitions. If I just don't touch it, it goes fast. And that's what a real car is like as well. You don't have to steer them a whole lot. But basically, if you have a wheel that self-steers a little on the slow side, you want to adjust your force feedback to where the wheel is trying to steer for you. That's what I would do. And then the other thing is you want to get in the habit of throwing the wheel. So if you're like drifting in, we'll do the other direction because I've already made this example once. If you're drifting in this direction, so you're counter steered in, you're looking over here, the car's going around like that. When you're ready to transition, with a real car and with my wheel, you can let it go and the wheel will spin around on its own. But with a wheel that's transitioning a little slowly, just the motors aren't really as up to speed, you're going to take this hand and throw the wheel to help it start to rotate. And then that should help it finish the rotation. And then you'll catch up and look over here. And then if you're drifting in this direction, you're going to take this hand, which should be at the top of the wheel, and you're going to use it to throw the wheel. So you'll actually see me in my real life drifting videos in this one as well. Throw the wheel and look over there, and throw the wheel and look back. I've got a phone call, so hold on 1 second. I will be right back. Alright guys, it's actually getting late, and hey JYT, good to hear from you. I'm doing great, but unfortunately I gotta call it a night. I've got phone calls coming in, so I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for the next video soon. Peace.